Well, but if you start at the beginning in that sense, right? Like we are already saying we want to rethink water with biotechnology. So it's like we actually got inspired by having the most efficient water filter there is on Earth, this aquaporin protein, and how to utilize that, right? So we want to make water more accessible by making this filtration technology more efficient with that protein channel, because then you also don't have the limitations of kind of what polymers are used and other things, because it's a natural ingredient already. Of course, we have to like build around it, but like on one hand, when we say we want to make it more efficient, it's like this protein channel enables us to maybe or to lower the resistance of water going through a membrane, which means then you can filter water with less energy. Like maybe you have to use a bit less pressure than with traditional membranes, which of course helps to get a lower CO2 footprint, but also to make it more accessible to others, by having lots of, like, for example, what my area is open innovation. So we're also trying to see like where can our membranes help in non-traditional setting, not only like to filter water that's needed in industry, but like how can we help and contribute to like closing this water loop, make water more circular. So like there is always water coming out somewhere and has to go in somewhere. So like instead of like throwing it out and then taking it in from a clean source, can we clean it with our technology, and of course with complementary technologies, to help in closing the loop. So we work a lot with like academia, other research institutes, like also companies, but also NGOs, to like see is there benefit to it. More and more goes also in like, if you have a certain technology that can concentrate to a high degree, then you also have the possibility to harvest something. Like wastewater is not necessarily waste. There's a lot of compounds in there that we could harvest. So like we have a couple of projects where partners then try to harvest something out of this stream that's concentrated. And the more it's concentrated, the higher your concentration of that target. So we think that in our overall area, of course, of our business is like where can we make a contribution, to make, well, the word more sustainable, you could say. And that even includes, if you have water filtration reliably and maybe also efficient water filtration, then you don't need plastic bottles, for example. It's like it's better to drink filtered water like that you filter on site than to have it shipped around in plastic bottles.
Yeah, and it's it'd be it's an interesting application, as well. I mean, especially given all of us who travel, around, and yeah, I mean, frequently in airports, I'm carrying a water bottle and refilling it as we go through, as well. And yeah, it definitely is something that's needed, across around the world, as well, for anybody that needs water. More specifically, whenever you look at life sciences, how is your technology applied inside of life sciences?
On life sciences, especially, kind of like I would say it's like we are maybe like could look at three different areas. And of course, always you need to provide clean water for like your production, for even for cleaning purposes. You need to have like this process water. And second is you can have product concentration. So you also need to sometimes remove water. In many processes, water is basically just, well, like a buffer or a carrier, that you have to like separate at some point. And of course, then it's water reuse as well, as I mentioned beforehand already. So like it's not, and there I can't say that's not only life science specific, but like we had some couple of projects where we especially looked into the life sciences as well. Also because we use like a protein in it. So like people are interested, can it do something different than our normal membranes? And like, oh, we can separate water, like we can't separate like certain compounds yet.
Yeah, it's I'm very familiar with like using media to separate, to separate compounds as well.
Mhm.
You know, whenever we go through typical bioprocessing, but yes, I could see where there would be some interest in terms of trying to see if there's any further application as well.
Mhm.
Um, do you know, is there a way that your technology is being used to improve specific processes within biotechnologies like cell culture, protein separation, or purification today?
Um, Actually, like it's not used in those ones today. We do have had a couple of projects, but like there, for example, when we looked at once a project together with GSK and Merck, where we looked at like waste streams from vaccine production to like loop it back into the process. And we have basically we don't have like a specific process within that biotechnology, but we have, you could say, like a project within another field of, you could say, pharma, because like we're looking at dialysis in itself, making dialysis more sustainable, because it's not really sustainable if you look at it. It's like it's about what, 200 liters per patient per treatment or something of water that you have to use. You have to filter that, and then you have waste coming out. So we are part of actually a big EU consortium looking at the like kidney care in general. So like there's people looking at the legislation side, there's people looking at the actual devices that you use, and like we are looking at water. So like, can
Mm.
you reuse water from those streams, or can you make water by not having like all this process technology in front that to ensure clean water, because you have your dialysate, you have to dilute and then run it through your dialysis. So there actually, like the aim is like, if you can cut out some of the processing steps, we could contribute to maybe having a better home dialysis or a better offer for home dialysis, or even portable at some point, which is a bit further in the future, but like it is, it is there, and it would be a great pleasure to be part of it, because that would make lives of patients so much better. And that's what it's all about. That's what I'm also like burning for, you could say, is like, how can we contribute, not even the traditional just water, but like how can we apply technology across different areas where it wasn't used before to like make an impact.
What does a collaboration effort with Aquaporin look like? If a company comes to you, I guess how do they get started? What does that typically look like?
Well, the easiest for us is always they come with a bag of money and then they pay us to do something. But that's that's usually not the case. No, but like we are very open. Like we have, that's what I'm also doing, like open innovation. Like we always had an approach towards innovation in an open setting. Like actually our core technology is like how we integrate aquaporins into membranes was developed in a collaboration project with a company, with the academia and research institute. So we're very open in that sense. And we approach it usually like, if there is if it's an earlier research, or if there's quite some work you have to done that has to be done, we usually also try to like, can we get an academia partner in there, because they have lots of smart heads and lots of equipment where we can complement each other. And then of course, can we get like third-party funding? So like we're running lots of EU projects, Danish funded projects. We had many projects with PUB, or with the funding authorities in Singapore, where we have a subsidiary. So the approach is like, can we make a consortium that like has ideally the whole value chain in there? So like going from, it's like, how can you make it in early stages in lab tests with maybe academia, and then have it all the way to the end customer, saying like, what is our need actually, and then like build it up there and like have a research project around this. And we had quite some success with this. Like even our current main product in the brackish water market, this membrane there, was developed and is actually now marketed together with partners that we got through these, yeah, you could say like private public partnerships, through these open
Mm.
innovation approaches.